All right, so knowledge check 3.6.3 builds on top of the previous knowledge checks that we just did. So you can see I've got the same script open. I've got my attrition data that I imported. I split that into a train and test set, and then I trained a logistic regression model on that training data, called that M1, and I also trained a nearest neighbor model on that same data, and I called that M2. And we saw in the last knowledge check 3.5.1, we can make predictions, and we can do so just using the predict function. Now let's build on top of that. And we want to, compute the accuracy rate of our logistic regression model for the attrition data. And we're going to do this on the test data. So let's go ahead, and what we are going to do is we take our model. This is a logistic regression model, which I called M1. And recall I can make predictions just with the predict function. And then here, so let's just go step by step. When I look at the output, you see it just predicts the class with the highest probability, which in this case, most of them what we see are predicting no. Now the next step is to go ahead and I want to bind. I use this bind calls. This is a function from dplyr. And I am going to take my test data and I'm going to select the attrition variable. All right, so what is this doing? Oh. All right, so I need to actually load dplyr, so let me do that here. Library dplyr. Now this should work. Oh, bind calls, that's what it needs to be. Bind calls. All right, so now what are those lines of code doing? All that's doing is I made my predictions, which was this column over here. Then I went in and I selected just the attrition column. These are the actuals from my test data, right, which we see here. And now the bind call is just binds those, brings those together, right? So here we have the predicted class from our model, which is predicting no, but the actual employee, the actual observation, yes, they did end up leaving. Where observations 2, our model predicted no, and the actual was no, they did not actually leave. Okay, so I've got my predicted classes versus the actual classes. Now all I need to do is use the accuracy function, and I need to tell accuracy two things. First one is which variable is the truth, right? Or the actuals, and that is going to be this variable right here, or that column. And then I need to tell it the what it calls the estimate. This is the predicted or the estimated output based on our model, which is .pred class. And now I see that my accuracy rate is 0.837, about 84% accurate. Now let's see if the k-nearest neighbor model did any better. So in this case, M2 is my model. I'm going to go ahead and predict on the test strat. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bind that column with my actuals. Which looks like that. And then I can go ahead and feed that into my accuracy function, and I need to say the truth equals attrition and the estimated or the estimate equals the .pred class. And now I see my k-nearest neighbor model actually got about 0.81. So we can see our logistic regression model, the default logistic regression model, definitely outperformed the default k-nearest neighbor model in this case.